Good day, it's me, and I'm currently making my last stand outside Rivershoal against the Coalition. This is Disco Elysium, a 7-year-old game I just got around to playing. Developed and published by Disco Elysium is a story-rich RPG that deviates from the traditional RPG formula by, instead of having you put points into strength and charisma, you put it into things like empathy and rhetoric. Now, this video is going to be a little different from my other videos, perhaps even a little Will Smithant. Major spoilers ahead, as this is not just a review but also a sort of abridged playthrough that will show a lot of the major plot points and the ending I got. Why? Because the game is 7 years old and most people will have or won't ever play it by now. So I think people who have played it will like to see my reactions to all the major plot moments, and people who won't play it will like to see what the story is, since it's the major point of the game. It's the writing. But getting on with it, I would like to welcome you to Martinez. Welcome to Rivershoal. Disco Elysium starts with you, the player character, unnamed and unconscious. Immediately, you're hit with the somewhat unconventionally voiced functions of your body, telling you something isn't quite right.
There is nothing. Only warm primordial blackness. You're conscious ferments in it. No larger than a single grain of malt. You don't have to do anything anymore. Ever. Never, ever. Never, ever, ever, baby. An inordinate amount of time passes. It is utterly void of struggle. No X-Y's to contain.
Infinitesimally small. You can't even make out it's a ball when you're joking it out. It's that large. Vying for resources is just a stupid expression you picked up somewhere. The part of the presentation you want to take home with you is this. You have to beat the other evil apes in the face, or you lose. Yes, it is. And you drowned in that sadness a long time ago. You lost.
When you finally do awake from your unconsciousness, you're greeted with an art style I can only describe as animated watercolors. It's very unique and honestly I really like it. It stands out, but it isn't so out there that it's hard to look at or difficult to distinguish. It looks good while still being functional. Similarly, our portrait is clouded and undistinguishable. Moving over to the mirror gives us our first interaction with the game's core gameplay, and kind of its only gameplay.
Wriggling between your fingers. Behold. You have no idea who this thing is, do you? Too late. You clearly have rigor mortis on your face. Oh wait, is that an expression? Are you trying to make an expression with that? What does it even mean? What is the emotion you're trying to convey? You are correct. Like the rest of you, it comes from a bad place somewhere in the past. It's too late. Like an image on film. The expression.
Now, this brings up my first observation. I know I'm starting off negative, but just shut up. As you just heard me say, this is the gameplay. As in, this is everything you do in the game. Finding stuff to talk to or interact with, and then passing or failing a skill check. There is a bit more to it, which I will get to later, but the main gameplay loop is pretty much this. And for someone, well, for myself, someone who is used to either fast-paced shooters or in-depth RTSs or long RPGs, it was a bit of a splash to the face. But oh boy is the water refreshing. There isn't a lot of gameplay in the traditional sense, is what I'm trying to say. Disco Elysium puts the gameplay onto you, which I'll explain a little more on later, because there's a good interaction I can use to explain it better later on. So, moving on, I exited the room after being able to view my beautiful mug and interacted with a few randoms around the cafe, hotel thing I'm staying at. Them being a neighbour who heard me crashing out the day before, and a slightly, just a little bit annoyed cafe manager, and an officer of the law, Kim Kitsuragi, who is actually here for us, apparently, because as it turns out, I'm a detective. I didn't know this because I've lost all my memories, mostly because of that aforementioned mega drunken crashing out in my hotel room the day before. I must have been playing War Thunder or something. After familiarising myself with the denizens of the cafe, I went outside and milled around for a bit. Went to Kim's motor carriage, which I do not understand how that thing works, but whatever, and reported into my station, Station 42, which is apparently important, but I just came into existence like 10 minutes ago, I don't know, man. However, during this conversation, the game really flexes its metaphorical muscles, with its writing and its comedy as well.
Fuck me! Mac, come here! You've got...
What's going on?
Super Carpet!
He lost his what now?
His badge. He lost his goddamn fucking badge.
10-9, come again. I didn't get that. Over.
New heights even for Captain Sober.
Ask him. Sergeant Orson wants to know if you lost your gun.
Check your pockets. Check your... Holy fuck. You don't know where it is, do you?
Oopsie poopsie. Anyway, after reporting into the station, me and Kim move on to the entire reason I was sent here in the first place. The body currently hanging from a tree in the garden of the cafe I'm staying at. Probably should deal with that. During this interaction, the game shows how dark, I suppose, it can be, in a sense. This guy's apparently been up for, give or take, like 3 weeks, and it was my job to get him down. Goo. And now, that task is a task for both myself and Kim. However, we are unable to do so, as the guy is strung up via a rather strong strap that most likely came from the harbour, which tells me a few things. The harbour is on strike. The harbour company probably sent this guy as a strikebreaker, and the union are prime suspects. Also, Kuno's here.
Right in the dick, Kuno! Get him right in the dick!
Love it in the dick.
The little fella. After realising I'm not going to be able to knock the body down anytime soon, I did some more exploring, in which I found a random woman by the docks and immediately accosted her about the human currently hung up for the world to see. And this ended up being a good idea, as she is a representative of the harbour company sent to negotiate with the union. I say in very thick quotation mark. Now, this conversation is probably for me when I decided I liked the game.
Hang on. She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement. She's a negotiator. Just float a favour at her. Insinuate.
I will be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors.
You're in, but expect her to...
Reports...
Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance, and not volunteer us to be her henchman. This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser. Either way, we've played...
He doesn't let it show, but there is a limit to how much the consequences of your unprofessional behaviour can cost the investigation.
Did you see it? I passed the check, but it didn't necessarily lead to anything good. Just because I can choose something in a conversation doesn't necessarily mean anything good for me if I bring it up. And bringing it up doesn't necessarily give me anything to work with. I can also end up worse off for it. Just because I have the option to say something, or one of my skills tell me to do something, doesn't mean I should. And I liked that. It meant the game wasn't just finding people and working my way through dialogue options. Like I said earlier, it's got a gameplay loop that's fairly boring on its own, but it expands it by pushing the gameplay onto you. You have to use your deduction skills. You are given your options on how to speak to people based on your skills, and you can maneuver through a conversation to end up somewhere. And a very interesting gameplay loop. After talking with the nice lady, I finally make my way to the docks, where, oh, wow, this should be good. I talk with the Scabs, a faction of workers who want to work and are being locked out by the union for obvious reasons. And we meet a rather lovely fellow.
It must be frightening to stand in the shadow of this racial pinnacle. Be calm, Sandwich. You are not in danger, because you are not a threat to me.
Thanks, Measurehead.
You reek of it. An invisible sword of Al-Ghul emerges from your throat. You cannot see it, but others can. It is making the woman in my company sick.
Yeah, I know, Measurehead.
You dominated lesser cultures, like the deformed Hemians and the inexplicably potato-obsessed Khoikos. But now your ascent to the genetic summit has halted. You are obsessed with sadness and with frivolous pop culture.
Yeah, I get.
There are 3 categories of race. Type A, the heroic races. Type B, the servile races. And the vile CF race cauldron of pederasty. Which one do you need?
I know.
Really let yourself go.
How did this happen?
Well, that could have gone better. But anyway, I'm not getting into the harbour anytime soon, so I sort of pissed about for the rest of the day, found my coat, although I couldn't get it, and got prompted to right hook Kuno, although I didn't. Goddamn should have, though. Spoke to a potential witness, paid off the damage done to my room, went on an adventure underground for a bit, failed to fight Measurehead again, and got my first lead on my missing firearm.
Someone else came here earlier today asking the same question. I promptly sold her the gun you pawned a couple days back.
Gee. And finally, me and Kim went over the day's events.
The body is still hanging from that tree, which is...
Oh shit, the body's still up. And then we went to bed. Day 2 was a lot more fruitful. I woke up to a horrendous hangover, most likely something to do with the aforementioned mega mind-destroying crash out. I want to talk about the menus. It's very stylized, but not as functional as I would have liked, which is slightly disappointing because they did really well with all the other stuff in the game, mainly the art style. It's still stylized, but functional. You can see everything clearly, and it still looks good. So, all the other stuff looks good and works well. So why couldn't the menus? It was mostly a few bugs with stuff like the sliders and the fact I couldn't see the extra slots on the internalizing menu because they were so faded. So I didn't see them till the end of the game. But it didn't impact my playthrough that much, so it's more of a I'm letting you know in case you decide to play it. Either way, continuing with the second day, I began a convo with the Hardy Boys, a militant wing of the Union, who probably, maybe, possibly, slightly, maybe, almost definitely killed the Strikebreaker. And after a second convo with the nice lady, we find out there are 3 of them. They are all ex-Special Forces, and the remaining 2 are probably gearing up for a military tribunal on the killers. Piss. But that's okay, because the Hardy Boys just admitted to the murder.
We did this. Together. All of us.
And we can't arrest them because they'd most likely beat myself and Kim to death with bats if we tried. Well, guess it's solved. See you later. Bye. I'm kidding, obviously. I had found out that the tribunal was being set up and that they would be coming for the Hardy Boys from the nice lady, which would most likely end up as a massacre because one group were Hardy militarized special forces and the other is the Hardy Boys.
Final round. Fight! Perfect!
Also, another criticism. When trying to figure out who the Strikebreakers are, the game just straight up told me that one of them was the big guy out front of the harbour gates. Which means, I guess I probably would have questioned him on it, but the game just told me, and I was slightly saddened I didn't get to deduct it myself. It made me sad. Wee wee wah, wee wee woo wah, wee wee wah woo. Anyway, after that I questioned the woman who the Hardy Boys said the Strikebreaker graped with an R, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, and she told me, what? No, they didn't happen at all. So I went back to the Hardy Boys and told them the same thing, to which they got annoyed at her for not lying to the police. Okay then. And then they gave me a tape recording saying he admits to it, to which I get the tape recorder, played it, and he sort of does. But obviously I don't believe it, because the game told me, 1, it could be fake, and 2, the supposed victim says it never happened. So... by now I was lost. The Hardy Boys still said it was them, and to be honest, I believed them. And the supposed victim said it never happened. So I ended up wandering around, not really knowing what to do. I know Titus lied about the grape that rhymes with an R, but I can't really arrest them, can I? And this is another criticism of the game from me, because when you run out of leads, it sort of boils down to running around aimlessly clicking on everything, which doesn't really lend itself to a stylized narrative experience like the game is trying to be. However, I do understand this, as the game doesn't want to hold your hand and wants you to actively think about things and look for things yourself, which I can get, but locking me out of actions after I fail them is really annoying, especially if I need to put points into the stuff to then get it unlocked again, especially if I try it about 3 times and fail it over and over at like 80% measurehead. Yeah, I went back and failed at punching measurehead like 3 times and got annoyed and lost enough that I didn't know what else to do. And my build was a physical one. That was my main way in, and it was like an 80% chance. I just kept getting unlucky, and I didn't want to run around aimlessly for another 20 minutes because of luck. It was getting boring. Anyway, I spin kicked the asshole. Now, finally, with the harbour area unlocked, I get to meet Evrart Clare, the head of the Union, and apparently, according to the nice lady, a bit of an arsehole. You see, the whole reason the Union is on strike is because the Union wants every member of the Union to be a part of the company's board, which obviously the company doesn't want. So cue the strike, Union blockade, possible drug trafficking to fund it, and the strike breakers strung up in the streets. It's probably all this guy's fault. Now, I'm okay with a little bit of communism, a little bit of violent revolution, a little bit of burning of the proletariat. I'm a cool guy. I'm down with the kids. But Evrart Clare is apparently not that. He shares the Union head with his brother, and they swap out every few years to avoid term limits. Also, everyone who runs against them never turns up on election day, so probably not a great lad. And he knows where my gun is.
Now, I'd like to set your mind at ease about one other matter. Your lost gun. Let me assure you...
His slug-like lips move, but the world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only 2...
Are you all right, Harry? It's not like you left it loaded.
Officer, we will deal with this later.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
God, you're sweating. Your knee is jerking. You're about to cry, aren't you?
So I need to do errands for the Union to get my gun back, which is... not sure how I feel about that one. Let's do something else for a bit. Now that the Union somewhat likes us, Measurehead takes the body down from the tree and we can begin our inspection, and not really find anything out because Kuno's been throwing rocks at it for about 2 days straight by now. And then I sleep. On day 3, 2 police officers show up who I don't recognise, and most likely hold no bearing into my life whatsoever. That guy's got cool hair though. And then we venture out to do the Union's dirty work, find some racist mugs, get access to a new area, find my car crashed into the ocean, and venture out into the fishing village. Wait, what was that last one?
No. Just nope. Say no to this, Harry.
I'm afraid so, yes. It looks like you drove your police motor carriage into the sea.
Oh, my badge, lovely. After that revelation, I find out that the victim was shot from outside the apartment by the woman upstairs. Not shot by the woman upstairs, she's the one who told me that's probably what happened. Yeah. Anyway, after all of this, I did a bit more save scumming because I got lost again, and I managed to convince the Hardy Boys to rat on the last member of their team, a Hardy girl, who may also be a drug trafficker, but don't worry about that. Also, the Hardy Boys finally admit that they didn't do it, which, I mean, by this point, shocker, really. I knew that as soon as the game didn't end 5 minutes after they admitted to it, but yeah, it's all over. Either way, the Hardy girl is just chilling out by the coast, apparently, so I'm sure she won't be that hard to find.
Gonna cry? Piss your pants, maybe? Maybe shouldn't come.
Yeah, I got lost again. However, I found another dead body, got involved in a hunt for a long-lost stick-bud cryptid that may not actually exist, started a nightclub, got my gun back from the pigs, which was a terrifying experience, and slightly saddening as well, and found my badge. And my car. But you already know about that. Also, I got a house. Now, the aforementioned, I'm using that word a lot, the previously mentioned, there we go, that's better, locking out of the speech options when I fail them, really rears its ugly head here, as this section contains the only mandatory skill check you need to pass. To which I failed it a lot.
The once bright mural towers above you, saying, failed for what?
At this point, I had to open the wiki because I was just so lost on what to do. I did have to push myself a little to continue because, as mentioned earlier, the gameplay is passing skill checks, and if I just fail them, I now have to run around aimlessly looking for other skill checks to get EXP to level up that skill so I can do it again. But if I then fail the ones I find then as well, I then have to wander around more, and it just gets tedious. But I suppose that's more my own terrible luck rather than the fault of the game. But it did make the experience a bit of a slog. Either way, eventually I did find the hardy girl, and she immediately uses space-age technology to incapacitate myself and Kim. However, there's one thing she doesn't know. I am built different.
You did it. The compressor lies broken on its side. It's quiet in your head again.
Phew. It's a good thing she didn't know I was built very Will Smithantly.
Oh, fuck it.
Oh my god, holy shit, don't do that, you're free to go, don't do that.
She runs past you, then past the lieutenant, and disappears into the darkness.
Oh shit, that was our prime suspect. After letting our prime suspect just run away, my bad G, we ransack her tent and find out it probably wasn't her anyway. God fucking damn it, did anyone in this town fucking kill this guy? Anyway, after figuring out that it most likely wasn't her, we move back to the oh my god, I forgot about the tribunal.
Pig fuck!
Now, I'd like to say it went well. I defused the situation and everything turned out okay. However, it did not. I tried to shoot the scab guy, realised I had no bullets in my gun, tried to shoot him again anyway, dodged a bullet, Kim absolutely sniped a guy because he's the GOAT, I get shot, but for real this time, and Kim 360 no-scopes the other one because, as I mentioned, he's the GOAT. Also, most of the Hardy Boys died, but no real loss there. After all of this, we go back to the woman upstairs, who, as it turns out, was just a bit of a freak like that, and find out she just gives us the answer to the case, using some string, after she ran away. We then go out to an island where the killer is, and find him. Now, if that felt abrupt, it was. Is there any way to figure it out before this? Because I felt like the game just sort of gave me the answer after passing one check. Could I not do this before? I really don't understand why it's done this. It feels like it's just sort of thrown at me all at once, just to sort of wrap up this one loose end that's been given to us. And I don't really like it like that. I think they should have tried to maybe put out a bit more. Did they run out of budget?
A delicate tangle of arms and legs. It's still there. And
what are you talking about? There's nothing.
The stick insect is over 3 meters tall. You feel your legs shaking under you, and your guts.
Tell me what you see.
I can see it. 4 simple words, but that means it's really there.
Be very, very careful. What is it? What?
Something is very wrong with him. The creature stands on long stilt reed-like tufts. The hiss is different from the strings you heard before. It says something else. It slowly, with like laughter, sweat drips from your brow, soaking your chest. You hissing and clicking, it extends its mandible-like antennae to greet you. You're right below it now. No reply. A total ancient silence. You were right. Little bubbles form on the mouth parts of the...
Careful. It may be...
The foam slowly turns a darker shade.
I exist. So am I. I was born to detect sucrose rewards and semiochemicals. What were you born to detect? He's in a bad state. Deteriorating fast now. He thinks I am beneficial to him, but I am not. Very slowly, and only because he won't go away. It is meant to keep them from noticing me, to interfere with the pictures in their heads. But no, you are aware. I am an all-known species of the order Phantasmadia. Endemic.
It may have unknown, dangerous biochemical characteristics.
No one unnoticed by the first settlers. I have stayed hidden through 4 forms of government and 2 scientific revolutions until I was like, no, there is one more. Thank you. I also have one more thing to say to you before you go. That woman, turn from the ruin. Turn and go forward. For all mankind. She was held on Earth. It doesn't take a 3-meter stick insect to tell you that.
Okay.
There is no change in the insect's motion.
In 3.
The shrill flash of the camera cuts the air like the blade of a sword.
I got it.
A shudder pulses as you're turning away. The phasmid mirrors your movements, stepping on the water, the long limbs carrying its feather weight without breaking its surface.
Whoa. I think all those failed checks were leading up to passing that. Well, anyway, she seemed nice. After just leaving the killer on the island. Really? We go back to the mainland where... Oh, look, the police. I'm sure this has nothing to do with me. Oh, it does.
Look what the tide brought him. Harry, you're bleeding all over the place.
Whatever this is, it is completely This is the man with sunglasses from the Whirling in Rags. But where are his sunglasses?
That's right. And you're bleeding. Bothered by it? Oh, fuck it. Let's not get into that. We're not forgetting about anything.
Hello, I'm Trent Heilerstein. I believe we've met on several occasions.
I'm your goddamn partner, Jean Vicomar, and this is your special task force. Or what's left of it. What the fuck did you do to a motor carriage? Why is it there, Harry? Ah, so refreshing. He just admits it. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for destroying 45,000 real of police property that's coming out of everyone's face. It doesn't matter. Your badge, Harry. Show me your badge.
In a rush to demonstrate your badge, your eager fingers can't sustain a grip on the smooth plastic. Not today, badge.
The fact that you're Evrart Claire's little peony now, doing I don't know what for him. That compared to the 8 people who were gunned down.
He did everything he could. We did everything we could. The company hired and vetted mercenaries. Lieutenant Dubois got between them and the locals.
Here comes the cavalry.
He did so at considerable risk to his person. Remember, he was shot. We stopped an execution, not a negotiation. The loss of life was minimal compared to what it could have been. Stop being sorry for 5 minutes.
You've spent the week with him. On the Lieutenant Evrart.
Well, the drinking, the gun losing, also losing the badge. That's all true. But despite all this, he is a great detective. One of the... He can talk human beings into telling him everything. And he doesn't stop. In all the time I've spent with him, he has not once stopped pursuing leads, however far-fetched and tangential. He solved it. Near perfectly. In 1 week we have a confession, a murder weapon, and the perpetrator. Locked on the island right now. He apprehended a straggler who stayed hidden for 50 years, ever since the revolution, who's probably committed other murders over those years. Oh, and he also discovered a new species.
It's a clean win.
I've never doubted you can pull yourself together and work. In bouts. Bouts don't last. I can...
God damn it. Doesn't it ever leave? It will pass. In time.
I don't want to, but you discovered a new species and solved the murder. So I have to.
Anything that ends the trial is okay.
You haven't been drinking, she thinks. So?
Agreed. The pub...
Okay. We have vehicles in the square, and the perpetrator needs to be taken into custody. Let's go.
And that was Disco Elysium. I know I was a bit negative sometimes during the gameplay segment, but I did enjoy myself. I obviously wouldn't be making the video otherwise. It's very artsy, and the writing and the vibe of the game is really unmatched. Which leads me to my final verdict, 8 Kunos out of 10 Kunos dads. The ending felt rushed, but it left enough open-ended for me to have closure but still be left wanting more. I won't say too much, but one of the still open-ended plot points is the strike in the harbour is still going on by the end of the game. Solving the case isn't the game, which is why I think it ended so abruptly. The game is, well, you. The destinations you go, the decisions you make, and the outcomes of your actions. And I like that. I recommend playing it yourself if you haven't. There's a lot I didn't encounter, and again, it's a fun experience. In the end, I got 6 achievements. Recruit Kim, goodest of the good cops. Literally the sorriest cop on earth, world's most laughable centrist, which I resent that one because all I did when asked about my political views was say, I'm not going to comment, because I didn't think it was appropriate for a cop to be telling his suspect his political views, but whatever. Well, call me a centrist. Gurable is lit, and enemy of the physical realm, because I kept breaking shit. And yeah, anti-object task force, my beloved. Anyway, fun game, can get boring at times, but again, it only does that if you can't figure out what to do next, dummy. So, Kim's the goat. Explode Evrart. Bye.